name is Kelani. I am the P7 tutor at Phoenix, and this video is about the exam tips for December 2017 P7 exam. So my first tip is about choosing the options. Now, when you've got your first reading time, your first 15 minutes of reading time and planning, this is when you should make a choice about your option. Do not just start with the questions and then when you reach section B say, okay, I'm going to do 4 and 5, or I'm going to do 3 and 4, because at that point while you're solving the questions you may just solve 3 and 4 and not do as well if you have solved question 5. So at that point we are already aware of what type of questions are going to come. So you can get questions about matters to consider, you can get questions about your audit report, you will definitely have that, and ethics questions or other assurance services. So at that point you know the requirements. So do not base your choice based on what the requirement is, but base it on the scenario, because the same requirement can come with either an easy scenario or a hard scenario. So don't read the whole scenario, just skim through it. For example, in matters to consider, if you find that the scenario is about things such as impairment of PPE and provisions, these are things that are very common that students are generally will understand the standard really well about it. So in that case, you can choose that rather than doing the ethics question, which is about, for example, conflict of interest, which maybe you do not have the background information about. So in that case, you can choose the matters to consider question 3, rather than doing question 4, which is an ethics question. Or on the other hand, the ethics question can be really straightforward and easy about self-review threats or intimidation threats. And your matters to consider is about an issue about share-based payments and the valuation of financial instruments. So in that case, maybe that can be a bit difficult. So just skim through it, make your choice and stick to it. So stick to your choice. So once you've made a choice, don't do the question half of it and then you feel, oh, okay, I'm not doing that well, so maybe I'll try to do another one. The marker is not going to choose the best 2 out of 3 that you do. He's going to choose the first 2 that you solve. Right? Okay, so after that, let's focus on the requirement. Very important to read the requirement really, really well. Understand what the examiner really wants from you. It is better to write what the examiner asks for you, even if you don't know too much, if your knowledge about that area is a bit weak. But then you answer what the requirement is asking you, maybe get half the marks, rather than write a lot of something that you really know, but you're going to get 0 marks for it because it is not what the requirement really wants. So read the requirement really well and answer the requirement. Also make sure that you read all of the requirement. A lot of the people, they can read, for example, identify and explain audit risks and other information that may be required in the planning of the company. So you may write audit risks, which is fine, and then forget about this other information, which can be worth 5 to 8 marks in the question. So, and remember, just make sure you understand what the requirement is needed in. So, next, I want to talk about the structure. So in question 1, you've got your 4 professional marks, so your briefing notes. So 2 from subject, introduction, conclusion, nice structure, titles, underlines, spaces between paragraphs to get the maximum amount of marks in your professional marks, and from your subject matter as well. So when you write different paragraphs, you are telling the marker, please give me a mark here, please give me a mark here, and you're making it an easier thing to mark for the marker. You're making his life or her life much, much easier. So that increases the chances of you getting marks. So make sure you've got really, really good structure. And then something else, when you're answering questions, make sure that you put emphasis on the discussion of what the issue is. having bullet points, having just stating what the issue is not enough. So it may have been enough in your F level, however, and in professional level papers, you need to be the manager on the job. You need to have discussions. So when you were discussing the audit risk, make sure you discuss the issue. And why is it an issue? It's an issue because of the valuation of inventory, for example, or of revenue recognition. Talk about the standard. The knowledge about the standard is very, very important. So do not forget to know all or most of the standards that are in the syllabus for P7. Something else, make sure that you discuss why is it a risk. Remember, an audit risk is a risk on the financial statements. So even if it's an inherent control or detection risk, it has to have an impact on the financial statement. So a misstatement on the financial statement, understatement, overstatement of revenue, of profit, of anything that may affect the financial statement. So do not forget that risk part. And the last thing that I would want to do and say, guys, is that you need to practice as much questions as you can. So we know the requirements: planning, ethics, other assurance services, matters to consider, and audit report. So we know the questions, we know the knowledge, the syllabus knowledge. The main thing is the application. The scenarios are going to be different, so you just need to practice. Make sure in that exam kit you tackle at least 2 questions. So solve 1 question fully from each type of question, and then try to do more. Try to at least prepare plans, right? And in the exam, guys, for your structure, make sure that you have your answer plan, right? Spend 2 to 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes in total for the whole exam, for your 4 questions that you're going to be solving. Prepare an answer plan. It's going to take some time at the beginning, but then it's time that is worth it. You are spending time to answer the actual plan instead of going and just deviating from the requirement, answering something that you are very knowledgeable about, but not answering the question. So that's my advice for you for the P7 exam. I do hope, guys, that it's helpful and that you do really, really well. Thank you. Good luck.